Yo, what's up, people? It's your boy, I'm Chris the Don One, and I am back with another video. Now we're going to be talking about the latest rumor, speculation, as well as news, the current topic, particularly on social media, on Twitter, Facebook. Really doesn't matter what social media device you choose. And that's the story between Kyrie Irving, LeBron James, as well as the Cleveland Cavaliers. And Kyrie Irving let it be known that he is willing to accept a trade to move the heck out of Dodge, away from the upcoming dumpster fire that we call the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, let's travel back a little bit. When Kyrie Irving re-signed that mega deal with the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Cleveland Cavaliers organization, as well as Dan Gilbert, was speaking to him and basically saying that you're going to be running the show. We're going to hire Blake. I forgot the coach, the European coach name right now. His name escapes me, by the way. We're going to hire him, as well as David Griffin as GM, and we're going to draft and get players around your type of style of play, and the play is going to be similar to what the Phoenix Suns did with Steve Nash. Okay, now what Kyrie Irving did not understand at that moment, and I'm pretty sure after he signed the contract, everything fell in, is Dan Gilbert had an on and off conversation with LeBron James, possibly LeBron James going back to Cleveland. Okay, so when he signed that deal, a week later, Cleveland signed LeBron James. They got LeBron James from the Miami Heat, which wasn't hard to do because at that particular time, Pat Riley and LeBron James, their relationship kind of teetered off. LeBron James wanted more influence with the Miami Heat, and Pat Riley was not, willing to fork over that, as well as the Miami Heat. They was at the pinnacle of not really adding a lot of superstar or players, because they maxed out Chris Bosh, and later on they had to max out, and they knew they had to max out Dwayne Wade if they wanted to keep LeBron James. And LeBron James was looking at Chris Bosh as well as Dwayne Wade. They were suffering injuries, and it was getting kind of older. And LeBron James saw the writing on the wall. And since LeBron James is non-committal with teams, he always wants an out just in case that team reach a threshold where they can't necessarily continue to add stars as well as servable parts, okay, along the way. All right, so in comes LeBron James to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Kyrie Irving didn't have a problem with that because, LeBron James was not only from that city, but he was also drafted by the Cleveland Cavaliers, and he was willing to make it work, okay? Particularly since LeBron James have a couple of titles up underneath his belt, all right? So the first year was very successful, and they didn't win anything. They lost to the Golden State Warriors because Kevin Love got injured, as well as Kyrie Irving, and some suspect, including me, that first year they could have won the chip if those two players were healthy. Okay, now the second year they won the chip. Everybody's happy. They also re-signed Kevin Love. Okay, now between in a 2-year span, the Cleveland Cavaliers have pretty much did everything that LeBron James asked for. Okay, to allow one of his boys to work for the Cleveland Cavaliers organization, as well as get the players that LeBron James wanted. LeBron James wanted Kevin Love. Okay, they traded Wiggins for Kevin Love, and to me, I felt like if they would have kept Wiggins, they still would have won the chip even with Wiggins. Plus, Wiggins is a younger player that you can mold and develop, okay? And And LeBron James felt like he couldn't win with Wiggins, so that's why they got Kevin Love, okay? We're going to get into Wiggins a little bit later. They also, under LeBron James' request, they given Christian Thompson a max contract. They pretty much outbid themselves. Everybody wanted Christian Thompson, but they was not willing to give Christian Thompson that type of max offer, okay? So the Cleveland Cavaliers and LeBron James, they outbid themselves because Christian Thompson is signed under LeBron James' agency, okay? So they did that because LeBron James wanted that, and they also outspent and gave J.R. Smith a max contract. And when they had the opportunity to trade Shumpert, they didn't. And now Shumpert has lost his value. And LeBron James did not want Shumpert to leave. Okay. Not to mention, they signed several of LeBron James' boys in the NBA. James Jones, players that when you look at it, they really couldn't contribute to the team. Okay. The only real reason why they were added to the team, not to compete for a chip, but that was LeBron James' friends, his confidants, okay? So now we're at the position where this summer, the Cleveland Cavaliers couldn't make any type of moves to sign top-tier NBA free agencies, okay? They were never in the discussions for Chris Paul, okay? They was never in the discussions with Paul George, even though there's rumors out there David Griffin was working on a deal for, and if you believe which side of the fence you want to, people were thinking that David Griffin was working on a deal to get Paul George, but then there were some out there that were stating that Indiana was not going to allow that to happen, and they felt like the best deal for them was to send him to the West, to the Oklahoma City Thunder. They got some players in return, and they don't have to deal with Paul George for like 2 years. Well, 2 games versus dealing with him in the East, battling against the Cleveland Cavaliers, okay? And plus, at the end of the day, that deal made a lot of sense than what the Cleveland Cavaliers was trying to orchestrate a deal with the Indiana Pacers. Now, the Jimmy Butler deal, I feel like that deal could have worked. But when you look at the grand scheme of things, him going to Minnesota, there was rumors and reports out there that he wanted to play with Tom Thibodeau. Okay, he had his best season with Tom Thibodeau. So the reason why he went to the Minnesota Timberwolves because of his relationship with the coach, as well as that's an up-and-coming team. And that team, if you look at it on paper, not now, but maybe 2 years down the road, maybe a year down the road, this team can be contending for a playoff berth, as well as they could probably show the Golden State Warriors a tough series, okay? So what the Cleveland Cavaliers are only able to do, which is, by the way, the Cleveland Cavaliers are over the salary cap. Dan Gilbert wants to cut that number down, and they really don't have enough money to entertain a Jamal Crawford, to entertain free agents that could be useful for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, they did sign Green, and they did sign a few players, but these players are older players, okay? Right now, the Cleveland Cavaliers need to get some youth. They need to have a perimeter, for the perimeter guards and the perimeter forwards for the Golden State Warriors. And they need to have a power forward or a center on the cheap that's athletic and that can contend and can run up and down the court with the Golden State Warriors, okay? But unfortunately, the Golden State Warriors find themselves in a pickle because they can't get those types of players, because those types of players cost a lot of money. Now, Cleveland is cap strapped. They don't necessarily have anything for the future when you're talking about draft picks. And as far as flexibility, this is as good as the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to get. Now, I made a video about a month ago, and I told you guys that I've seen this song and dance before with the Chicago Bulls. Okay, the Chicago Bulls, when the Bulls won their third championship, they three-peated again. Bulls management, Bulls organization say that, like, yo, we can't continue to max out these players and they're getting older and we're not building for the future. So let's just break it up right now. Michael Jordan went into retirement. Scottie Pippen was traded to the Houston Rockets. And I believe Dennis Rodman was playing for the Lakers or for the Spurs. I can't remember. But they split that team up and they started all over. Now, it took several years to get the right pieces, and they did contend for the playoffs, but unfortunately, they didn't win any championships, okay? The last Bulls championship was with Michael Jordan and them in that group, okay? Now, some people are going to say that, well, maybe if they would have kept Michael Jordan and the rest of that team, who knows, they could have contended for another title. Me personally, they could have probably contended for 3 to 4 more seasons. But when you're talking about Father Time has not lost a battle against players, okay? When players get older, their athleticism decreases, okay? They're not as athletic as they once was when they were young. Now, they still have the mental aspect. That never deteriorates, but when you think about it, when they get older, they cost a little bit more, and you're not necessarily building for the future. You can't contend for titles and build for the future, okay? You have to do one or the other, and that's what the Bulls chosen, okay? And I felt like the Cleveland Cavaliers are in that same type of pickle, that same type of predicament, because right now they don't have any draft picks for the future. They mortgaged their future for that championship 2 years ago. Well, a year ago, okay? So, to me, I feel like the Cleveland Cavaliers, Dan Gilbert is under the mindset of, yo, look, let's just do it this way. Let's just get something for Kyrie Irving, either trading him to Minnesota or the Spurs. I feel like those are the perfect destinations for not only Kyrie Irving, but for the Cleveland Cavaliers when you're talking about the future. Not contending for titles, but the future, all right? I feel like both of those organizations are willing to give away their draft picks as well as maybe a player to eat up some of the salary or match the salary of Kyrie Irving, maybe in an expiring contract so they get some money in return, and they can possibly have enough picks to build for the future. Now, any of these scenarios is not going to make the Cleveland Cavaliers a better team and dethrone the Golden State Warriors, okay? Now, as far as the Knicks and the Heat aspect, the most you can get out of those two situations, which the Knicks already reiterated that they're willing to give away Carmelo Anthony and a first-round draft pick, okay? First-round draft pick is good. Carmelo Anthony, that's the player that LeBron James, that's one of his friends he wanted to play with. But at the end of the day, even with Carmelo Anthony, with no Kyrie Irving, you're pretty much in the same predicament, probably a little bit less because now you don't have a point guard. Now, there are reports out there that suggest that Derrick Rose is going to sign with the Cleveland Cavaliers. But when you look at that aspect, Derrick Rose hasn't been the Derrick Rose since 4 years ago, okay? So this older version of Derrick Rose, I don't know how that's going to, when you look at Derrick Rose, how he's going to compare with Kyrie Irving. Is he going to contribute the same way as Kyrie Irving? Probably not, okay? So even if they went that route and traded Kyrie Irving to the Knicks, and the Knicks in return give them a first round draft pick and Carmelo Anthony, they would answer some questions in the perimeter defensive game, but then when it comes to creativity, when it comes to managing the offense, that's what a point guard do. Even though Kyrie Irving has a mentality of a shooting guard, ball control, you're going to miss all of those things if you trade Kyrie Irving to the Knicks. Like I said, the best case scenario for the Cleveland Cavaliers is trading Kyrie Irving to the Spurs or Minnesota. They're going to get tons of picks. They're going to get an expiring contract that probably equals or halfway equals Kyrie Irving's salary, and then they can use that for financial flexibility. And if you take any of those type of situations, that's not going to necessarily make you better than the Golden State Warriors. At the end of the day, all of these teams in the NBA summer, when the free agency started, none of these teams, after they got the players they wanted, none of these teams are head and shoulders the same or better than the Golden State Warriors, okay? The Golden State Warriors stayed pat, and they added more firepower on the bench, okay? I like it or not, love it or hate it. I know people have question marks about Swaggy P, but at the end of the day, getting Swaggy P, he's midway young. He's still energetic. He's still athletic. But what people fail to realize is having that player on your roster, now Steph Curry can rest. Kevin Durant can rest. Klay Thompson can rest. When you have that type of flexibility, that only makes your team better. That's the only real reason why they signed Swaggy P, because they wanted to improve their roster, improve their bench, and get players that can give their stars added rest. Cleveland can't do that. Cleveland is cap strapped. They're over the salary cap. To be perfectly honest, LeBron James, like I said earlier in this video, LeBron James caused a lot of these situations that the Cleveland Cavaliers unfortunately in. They were the only ones outbidding themselves for Christian Thompson. They overpaid for Christian Thompson. They overpaid for J.R. Smith, which, by the way, when J.R. Smith, the best J.R. Smith I have ever seen in my life is when he was playing for the Denver Nuggets. That particular J.R. Smith was a master of none, but he had so many weapons at his disposal. He was athletic. He could run up and down the court. He can go. He can defend. He can defend. He had that three-point stroke, as well as he was a slasher. That was a good version. That J.R. Smith is a better version than the J.R. Smith that's with the Cleveland Cavaliers. This particular J.R. Smith with the Cleveland Cavaliers, the only thing he's using at his disposal, because the other things he were using back in the day are deteriorating, is his three-point game. And sometimes it's on, and in a lot of cases it is off. It is way off. It is left to the left off. That's how bad J.R. Smith's game has unfortunately gotten to, okay? But LeBron James caused a lot of these problems, okay? And the reason why a lot of these quote-unquote superstar, NBA superstars, the reason why they're not going to sign with the Cleveland Cavaliers or even want a trade with the Cleveland Cavaliers is because no one is certain how long LeBron James is going to stay with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Me personally, if he had 3 more years left on his contract, I felt like the Jimmy Butler deal probably would have went through, okay? Not 100% sure with Paul George, because when you look at the aspect of that deal where he went to the Golden State Warriors, the Indiana Pacers got some decent players that they can build in their foundation. Or if they have a losing season this upcoming NBA season, they can trade some of these players to get draft picks. So now the Indiana Pacers have flexibility. They can go either or. They can build on top of the players that they got from the Paul George trade, or take those pieces and apply them and trade them to other teams and get draft picks for them. Okay, so that's what's pretty much is going on, transpiring with the with unfortunately the Cleveland Cavaliers and LeBron James. I stated this in a video a month ago that I feel like this team is going to get broken up. I've seen this same picture with the Chicago Bulls. Okay, I think Dan Gilbert see the writing on the wall. It really doesn't matter what they do in this upcoming NBA free agency, what type of moves they make. None of these moves are going to equal them beating the Golden State Warriors, okay? They're above the salary cap. He's paying luxury tax. He's trying to cut that in half. And me personally, the best case scenario for the Cleveland Cavaliers is just start all over, okay? Go ahead and trade Kyrie Irving to either Minnesota or the Spurs. You'll get some decent draft picks and some players that you can probably trade a little bit later. You know, if you're going to trade him, now you can trade Kevin Love. I feel like you can get something very decent for Kevin Love. I think NBA, when you talk about the NBA Association, teams will love to have Kevin Love, but unfortunately, they can't tolerate that max contract that he has, okay? So if there's a team that's on the cuffs that may want to add another superstar talent to bolster their roster and contend for either whoever is going to be the leader of the pack in the East and the Golden State Warriors, then Kevin Love is that type of player that you can utilize for your squad, okay? And LeBron James, I think LeBron James do not want trade on his career. He feels like that's a disservice to his career, to his resume. He is not going to be traded anywhere, okay? But if the Cleveland Cavaliers trade Kyrie Irving this season, this off season, and when the season begins, somehow, some way they get Derrick Rose, and the season goes left and they're losing, and Dan Gilbert is making it be known that he's blowing this thing up, I think LeBron James, before the trade deadline in January expires, he's going to he probably going to willing accept to get a trade to get the hell out of Cleveland if he's the only player on the Cleveland Cavaliers squad, okay? That's the only scenario I see LeBron James being traded. But to be a realist, I feel like LeBron James is going to possibly stay throughout the whole season, call it the swan song, call it the final finale for his Cleveland fans. And those tickets are going to be selling through the roof. They're going to have sellouts because that's going to be the last time that they're going to see LeBron James in a full season. And then next summer, who knows? A lot of people are talking about he's going to the Lakers. I'm not 100% sure of that. I told you guys in several videos, I feel like the destination for LeBron James, if he wants to contend for rings, is either he's going to have the mentality, the mindset of Kevin Durant saying, you know what, if you can't beat him, join him. Let me join the Golden State Warriors. And if he does join the Golden State Warriors, I feel like the Golden State Warriors are going to figure out how to get rid of Draymond Green because you have, by adding LeBron James, you really don't necessarily need Draymond Green, and they'll probably trade him. Well, Draymond Green and Klay Thompson, you can only max out one of those two players, okay? You're already maxed out Steph Curry. You're getting ready to max out Kevin Durant. And, you know, the Golden State Warriors, they really do love Klay Thompson, and they're going to max him out as well, okay? It's not enough money to go around when you start looking at it. And if LeBron James go to the Golden State Warriors for the cheap, then possibly they'll get rid of Draymond Green and he'll probably have to find himself on another team. And that's going to, once again, the Golden State Warriors are ahead of the curve. Once again, it gives you the opportunity to add flexibility on your roster, to add more players and you'll have financial freedom to get other players, okay? And, you know, that's smart thinking with the Golden State Warriors. Now, if LeBron James goes there, his influence, he will no longer have influence. Now he's in a situation where he's riding the coattails of the Golden State Warriors. Now, another team I can see LeBron James going, other than that possibility, would have been, it probably is the San Antonio Spurs. If the San Antonio Spurs don't sign Kyrie Irving, Kyrie Irving, okay? The San Antonio Spurs would love to have LeBron James there, and I think Kyrie Irving would also love to have LeBron James there as well. But I feel like LeBron James is that type of individual that probably wants to go to a team that has flexibility cap-wise, and he can have influence on. And either, it doesn't really matter if it's the Golden State Warriors or the San Antonio Spurs. If he goes that route, he's not going to have that influence to run the organization, okay? So we're going to have to wait and see what LeBron James does. As far as Kyrie Irving goes, if something transpires in the next couple of days where Kyrie Irving has a change of heart and he wants to stay with Cleveland, then all the stuff I just said is out the window. It's 88 out the gate. But I feel like this is a situation that is long overdue. I think Kyrie Irving been thinking about this for the past couple of seasons. His best friend is Kobe Bryant, and Kobe Bryant has been taking him under his tutelage, under his wing, and you know, helping Kyrie Irving. Okay. And that's the person he goes to for advice, okay? And Kyrie Irving does have the talent where he can run a team on his own. And in actuality, he thought that he was going to run the Cleveland Cavaliers, okay? That's why he signed that mega deal, okay? And then a week later, they signed LeBron James. I don't think Kyrie Irving hates LeBron James, but I feel like Kyrie Irving feels like, yo, you're non-committal. You're not going to sign an extension until at the end of, next summer. You're not going to sign an extension there. And that's the reason why they can't get any free agents or any type of decent player that can make them better, okay? Because all of these agents, all of these players in the NBA sees what LeBron James is doing. He wants, LeBron James wants everybody to commit to him, but LeBron James doesn't want to commit to them. You know, commitment is a two-way street, okay? That's the only way commitment works. It doesn't just commit one way. And LeBron James wants to have the flexibility at the end of the day to say, yo, this is not an ideal situation, so I'm 88 out the gate, okay? And by having that type of mentality, unfortunately, a lot of these players and agencies and even coaches see this, okay? So I said a month ago that I feel like Kyrie Irving, a month ago, I felt like Dan Gilbert was going to break this team up, okay? But it is what it is. We're all going to have to wait and see what happens, what transpire, things of that nature. I hope y'all guys could hear me. I have my volume down just a little bit, but you could turn it up. But, you know, nobody wrote down in the message board saying, I can't hear you, okay? So it is what it is. We're just going to have to wait and see with LeBron James, his situation, Kyrie Irving. If Kyrie Irving is traded this summer, and if LeBron and the Cleveland Cavaliers are, you know, not winning this NBA season, then Dan Gilbert as an owner has to make a business move. And he can't, you know, I feel like he's going to trade away. If Kyrie Irving is already gone, then he's probably going to entertain trades around Kevin Love. I think there's like 2 or 3 teams that may be still interested in Christian Thompson. I think as a whole, the NBA is interested in Christian Thompson. But however, I feel like teams do not want that contract of Christian Thompson's. Once again, this was LeBron James' boy. The Cleveland Cavaliers as an organization was influenced by LeBron James to overspend on Christian Thompson. If they would have gotten Christian Thompson on the cheap, if they would have gotten Kevin Love on the cheap, or possibly just letting him go, all right, and J.R. Smith, if they could have don't overpay for J.R. Smith and got him on the cheap, they would have had financial flexibility to add more players to the roster, okay? So if LeBron James complains, LeBron James, it was your own doing, okay? You wanted these players, you wanted to max out these players. Well, be careful what you wish for, my friend. Be careful what you wish for, all right? But guys, tell me what you think out there. Rate, comment, subscribe, please. Notification gang in the building. Hit that notification icon, that notification bell. It will let you know when my next video or live stream is going viral. It's your boy. I'm Chris the Don One. I'm out, man. I'm out.